Good to connect with you. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Chris.
Looking forward to Jedi Mind Trip. I'll say it, returning to the Ludington area. This is not going to be a new experience for you. This is a return because, well, frankly, people love you guys.
Yeah, we've been coming over the west side of the state for 20 years or so.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. You're in the Saginaw area, although you travel throughout the country, right? Is it that
Uh,
busy for you?
we've done some stuff in Florida and got flown out to LA last year, but primarily it's just Michigan and maybe Chicago and Ohio.
Well, and from everybody that I've talked to, I mean, you have a traveling fan base. Like there are people that, and as you should have. I mean, with major artists and I wouldn't say upcoming because you've been doing this for so long that
Noob.
uh, you have a fan club though, right?
Yeah, I started after playing the bar scene here since in Saginaw area, Tri Cities, Saginaw, Midland, Bay City, Flint area. After about 10 years, you kind of hit that ceiling and like, what am I going to do? So I started branching out
Yeah.
to corporate events, big festivals, and weddings. So it's been about 20 years since we've been traveling all around the state. So
Oh. What's been the major change since starting versus now? What comes to mind for you?
after, well, the major thing is gear. Everything
Mm,
was old school, and we've been
heavy.
in your heavy, yeah, tons of gear. Excuse me. So everything's got lighter, more efficient, easier to set up and tear down and stuff like that. Sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if back in the late '80s when I first started, things didn't sound good. It took you forever to set up and sound check. So that's basically the big thing. And we travel all in my vehicle, and it's pretty easy now.
As a DJ for nearly 30 years, I remember getting to the point where you set up and you've got the energy at the beginning of the night for the wedding reception or prom or whatever, but then afterwards you're like, you look at those speakers and you know what I mean, and it's like, how about they just stay here for the night? It
Yeah,
was
my joke to everybody is like, if I had practiced a little more, I could have had people loading my stuff in and out. Sometimes I do,
no, no,
but
it's all right.
mostly it's me and I. So yeah, yeah, tearing
Well,
the stuff down and is the that's the work.
yeah, well, I'll tell you, the sound crew here, they do an amazing job. So you can take that off of your shoulders a bit,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
and look forward to it. Coming back to Ludington, what is that? What does that mean to you? I mean, obviously you visit a lot of places, but does Ludington hold kind of a little bit of a string for you?
Yeah, because when I was growing up in the late '70s, early '80s, we would come to Ludington as a family and spend some time in Ludington. So it's kind of like memories flood back from my youth. So, and then on top of that, we started playing around there and had done some shows, some weddings and
Hmm.
some shows over there. So there's the nostalgia part for my family and my youth, and then there's the band. Has got a good fan base over there. So it's cool.
And the decades of music that you do perform. I mean, these are hits that people will recognize. They'll be able to dance to and sing along to, and all of that. Is there some originals that you try have tried to do over the years? Is it a lot of covers? Where's the kind of percentage land for you these days?
Um, you know, Early on, you start out thinking, okay, I'm going to be a rock star, and then you're tenacious and you do that full time and hammer it home. And I've got some friends that have gotten in the music industry and had some hits and stuff, and it's hard. But I just kind of figured, what am I good at? I'm good at imitating other people's voices and singing stuff that makes people want to dance. Though that we 100% we do covers. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
A- and is it your own spin? You mentioned just a moment ago trying to imitate that voice or that feeling, or when that, because it is a balance, right? You've got the lyrics and the music that comes on, and people instantly recognize that song. But then, is it where you want to put your own flavor on it, or do you want them to just really connect with what that song is and how it sounds? Where do you stand?
I tr- I I try to emulate exactly what you hear on the record. And I think if you ask our fans around the state, that's what we try to do. So I appreciate all the people that have bands that, you know, change it up a little bit and put their own spin on it. That's great. And sometimes it sounds sometimes better the originals. But what I
Yeah,
try to do is just
sure.
sound like the record.
Yeah. You found over that 20-year span, especially in the past probably 10 years or so, that that does it for the listener or the fan, right? It
For our listeners and the people that follow us, that's what they want to hear, and that's they know that what they're going to get when they come see me. So
If you're just joining us, we're talking with Danny from Jedi Mind Trip, part of the West Shore Bank Rhythm and Dunes concert series. Last weekend, July 25th, we had Mark Blomsteel and the Motor City Drive, country that rock, his own spin on things in that particular case. But I'm telling you that people have over the last week that we've talked to said, "Oh man, we cannot wait for Jedi Mind Trip." I mean, for that anticipation, for that kind of lead up for this Saturday's concert, that's got to be a great feeling for you. And may I ask, do you feel like when did that come around? Do you know what I mean? When did you feel like you hit that level of a following and such?
that's a good question. I don't know. It kind of like you, you never see your kid get from one age to 5 ages down the road. It just gradually happens.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So I don't really know, but I think a lot of it was like talking about technology is being able to hear yourself with in-ear monitors instead of floor
Yeah.
monitors.
Absolutely.
Then you can really hear your mistakes and where you're at, so
Mm.
good or bad. But
Yeah.
I think that's where it started, like, okay, we can start sounding as close to the
Yeah.
record as possible. And then it just kind of morphed into that, oh, you sound like this guy, you sound like that guy, or whatever. And I'm like, okay, great, that's kind of my niche.
Is okay. That would be a question I would ask you. Would be because you're doing these covers, and I'm not an artist, but we follow people and we listen to them and we dance and we sing along, but to sound like Journey or to sound like Dylan or whoever. Uh, what when you get to that point where people are giving you that feedback, that's not a bad thing.
Listening to the recordings, I don't sound just like that person. I think I try to move the needle a little bit.
Yeah.
So to me, to say, oh, I sound just like that person, no, I don't sound just like that person. But if I can get into their, just a little bit into their area, I
Uh-huh.
think that's what I try to do and
That's pretty
get
cool.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. What are the songs that two-part question? What are the songs that you love to play as part of your list, and what's the fans requesting as well? Which could be one and the same in many times, but I'm sure there's a couple of favorites that you love to perform.
yeah, I love to do any Billy Joel, and one we play predominantly now is My Life. That's one
Mm,
for that we love playing.
yeah.
But if you ask any of our fans, they could be from in their 20s to in their 60s,
Hmm.
70s. So it depends on who you're asking of, like, what's their favorite song I play. So but yeah, Billy Joel stuff. We just started playing Huey Lewis song and a Men at Work song. Those are pretty cool. And we're bringing out a special guest tomorrow. Got a saxophone player gonna come up and
Oh,
sit there
cool.
and play with us.
All
So
right.
those ones that he's playing on are our favorites right now, because it's like, ooh, new guy.
You can kind of stand back a little bit and observe too when
Oh
you
yeah.
when you do bring somebody like that. Describe the number of band members. What's the makeup of the band? How well do they sync together? What's that like?
So the story is, I started the band with my two best friends, Pete Schaller and Matt Hayes, and they kind of peeled off within a year or two of forming the band and kind of gave it to me to run. And they went off, and one's a PA up in Matt Hayes, my best friend, is PA up in Traverse City. So
Mhm.
um, after that, it was like every 2 years it seemed like I had new members in the band. So overall, it's almost 45 members that have been through my band over the
Wow.
30 years I've had it. And every incantation or lineup I've had, we were always good at one thing or another. Like this version was really good at doing this song or this other song or that kind of vibe and stuff. So over, like I said, 30 years, it's always changed. But I've got a great group of guys and girls for the last 15 years from my bass player, Dave Mosner.
Hmm.
Noel, my keyboard player, has been on and off with me for about 20 years. And my drummer, Ryan Fedewa, has been with me for a couple years on and off. But they're great musicians, great people. And, you know, there's no drama anymore. We just have
Yeah.
fun.
And in the beginning, probably there is, or even throughout,
Yes. Well,
it
you're young
happened.
and yeah, you're young and yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's and it's not the first time that that has come up when talking to a band. It's just part of, when you're on the road, right? When you're traveling and you in tight areas, and you've got to, I mean, you have to be like family, a family that actually gets along, right?
Yes. And that's a hard thing to do when you're young and you
Yeah.
button heads and
Yeah.
you're not fully formed individuals yet. So
Mhm. What
not that we're perfect now, but yeah, we're all good friends.
Well, and you'd mentioned the number, around 45 band members, uh, but that's over a 30-year period of time. And
Yeah.
for our listeners or viewers, they might be thinking 45 people, but you have an expectation, a sound that you want to get to, and I think it was really neat to hear just a moment ago when you said that when certain band members were part of the band you sounded like this or different. Do you think a lot of bands go through that? Is that similar? Is that the history that many bands kind of do, their timeline goes?
For me, just knowing what I know, yeah,
Mhm.
every lineup has a little bit of a swing left or right, like, oh, this sounds good or this sounds good.
Yeah.
So playing with as many people as I have, and they're all really great. I've had
Mhm.
just incredible musicians over, especially looking back now. I've had the pleasure of playing with a lot of really good members. So, and every one is like, that we sounded really good on that song or that kind of genre stuff. So I would assume that that probably happens with,
Mhm.
any kind of band like ours. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Danny's joining us from Jedi Mind Trip. The name, yours, does it have a little history?
That's a little ambiguity because I definitely didn't come up with it, but we booked our first show in 1997. We'd been practicing the fall of 96 and we booked a show and we didn't have a name. So we went out for some cocktails and
Mhm.
we ended up with Jedi Mind Trip somehow. And it definitely wasn't me, even though I was a huge, or not huge, I'm good, love Star Wars, but I
Yeah.
think it was Matt. I don't, but it was between that and Down with Pete, which was our other guy that started them. So thank God we went with Jedi Mind Trip instead of Down
Yeah.
with Pete because he was gone within 2 years too anyway. So
Yeah.
it
Absolutely.
would have been Hootie and the Blowfish. Who's Hootie? Who's
Yeah.
Pink? Yeah. So
No, that's cool. Well, to bring it home a little bit here, Ludington is home of Rhythm and Dunes, presented by West Shore Bank last week. They raised a lot of money. This hopefully tomorrow they'll raise more money. Last year it was $22,500. It's a high bar, but I'm telling you, Danny, as much as I do, is that when that goes into local schools and especially the local bands
yeah,
in those schools, that's a pretty big deal.
that's fantastic. When I heard what you guys were supporting and what the supports, I thought was great. I love it. My two kids have been in band their whole time in school, so they both play saxophone. One just graduated, and one's still in school and still plays with the band and the marching band. So I love this.
Yeah, and the students, they have a good time. We were just talking yesterday with band director Keith Kuczynski for Ludington High School and some of the band members, and you could tell they look forward to these events, and for them to not have to stress out as much about band uniforms and instruments, and even one of the things that Keith Kuczynski brought up was that he was able to give out scholarships and is able to each year because and even when he was growing up, he had switched to a different school because he was so in love with wanting to be a part of band, and it was too expensive to be able to do it when he started out. But he found a school that was able to help, and even at Ludington High School, they're able to give out scholarships that help the students nowadays. That has to be rewarding for you to be on stage and have an audience that is contributing to those efforts, and to a student that doesn't have to necessarily sit on the sidelines, but they can pursue that passion.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We do a lot of benefits for other things too. So, but when it's connected to music, it gives you that. Oh my gosh, we could be, helping the next, so and so that goes on to
Yeah.
do great things and stuff. Or if it's just for the love of music, I mean, what's better than that?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine 10 years, 15 years from now, one of those students being on stage, or the next big deal on Spotify or on the radio or
Right.
wherever. I mean, that's a huge thing. You bring out the audience. They dance, they sing, they crowd the stage. That has to be a pretty big high for you too, right?
Oh yeah, it's great. I love entertaining people and playing music, so it's great. I couldn't ask for a better job.
Well, we are looking forward to that. I know we have some precipitation in the forecast. Hopefully that changes. We live in Michigan. You know that things do
All
change.
t- all too well. I live
Yeah.
by the Weather Channel and other apps just to see where we're at and how we get to dance around the raindrops. So
Yeah, and so hopefully a return to Ludington and singing and dancing is a big part of that. What do you want the listeners that are listening right now and the viewers, but the community of Ludington and Greater Ludington? Because last week, Danny, we always have a question when I'm emceeing on stage. I always ask this question, like, is anybody from 50 miles away or 300 miles away, and so forth? And there's a lot of hands that go up about traveling because, Ludington brings in a lot of people from a lot of areas. We had one girl in the front row that was from Spain, and visiting the area. And so when you can connect with so many different people, that's a pretty big deal. But um, i- th- are you? Is that fun to connect with so many different people and so many different lifestyles and so many different places?
yeah, to say that about people connecting from other places. Like I said, we played a show in LA, and it was a couple that were there in Michigan for a wedding, and then he remembered who I was, and
Yeah.
excuse me, and then found me and said, throwing a big party for my wife, who's a producer. Would you guys come out there? And I said, yeah. So
Yeah.
that was just happenstance, that serendipity that they were at, my show at the Bob, I think in Grand Rapids, and then
Mhm.
years later remembered who I was and hired me to go out there. So it was great.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's those connections and that resonate for sure. Well, hopefully things will happen. You'll take the stage at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Prior to that, 6 o'clock, LHS band, and they're bringing out, by the way, 75 band members to perform before you go on stage. That
Yeah,
kind of gives me goosebumps.
yeah, they're gonna sound amazing. So I got to follow that.
Yeah.
And
The bars.
I got one sax player.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And then prior to that, 5 o'clock, the food trucks open up. So we've got dinner and all that good stuff. Uh, Anything else that we're missing from an expectation standpoint for a Jedi Mind Trip performance? What can we expect that we haven't talked about?
I don't know. You set the bar high, so it's kind of like on me to bring it, right?
Yeah.
I kind of got to bring it.
No, absolutely. You guys are going to do great. I mean, the repeat idea is the cool part because people have seen you on stage, they know what to expect, but they love it and they sing along and they dance and that's, I mean, that's part of what you bring to the table, and I think that's a cool part.
I think I'm lucky in that. I get to play music that's just timeless. It just never goes
Mm.
away. I
Yep.
used to be the house band at this place called Rick's Cafe in East Lansing, and one of my last shows there, I was thinking, all these kids are still singing the songs that
Mhm.
there's only one reason that their parents are listening to them, and I like this is never gonna die. So
Yeah.
it's this music is just timeless, and that's why I think artists are commanding so much money for their catalog. We lived through a
Yeah.
golden age of music, and I'm lucky to play all the songs and give it to people, in my way. So
Yeah. Absolutely. What is the one song tomorrow night that we can look forward to, or you want to share a couple of them?
I mean, I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to playing with my sax player James Bishaw. Probably one or two songs with him. Probably maybe September, having him
Okay.
play sax on it.
Oh yeah, that would be fun. That's a good.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're looking forward to it. I just got some messages. Um, and from the team at West Shore Bank, and they're going to talk with you and work out some details and all that good stuff. So for the listeners and the viewers, just keep locked to the radio stations and our socials and West Shore Bank socials and all that in regards to tomorrow. But we want to see Jedi Mind Trip on the stage, and for the kids too. I mean, it's such a big fundraiser. It is a huge event, and we want to make sure that thousands of dollars. We want to surpass last year's numbers. I mean, that's the big goal of every year, and you are a big part of that. You know that, right?
just glad to be on the team.
Okay. All right. Danny, we appreciate you taking some time with us and keep doing what you're doing. We'll look forward to chatting with you soon. And my gosh, safe travels everywhere that you go. Okay.
We'll do. Hi to all your listeners, and see you tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Danny. All
Bye
right.
bye.